product is no longer there to implement requests, they are also there to enable or to empower the sales team.
Learning how to say no in product and learning how to move from one product to multiple products are just two of the key topics we cover in this episode.
But once you keep having demand, it means that, they are interested in it. It's probably delivering value.
Hey, it's the Product Experience, and I'm Lily Smith. Patrick Ndjientcheu and his team at Irembo have first-hand experience of these challenges, transforming from a service business to a product org to a portfolio of products. He shares his frontline experience, where they went wrong, and his advice on managing your team and customers through these transitions. Hi, Patrick. Welcome to the Product Experience podcast. It's great to be talking to you today.
Hello, Lily. Thank you for the welcome. It's a pleasure to be part of this podcast.
So before we get stuck into our topic today, which is going to be all about how you move from one product to multiple products, and how you did that at Irembo, it would be lovely if you could give our listeners a real quick intro to who you are, how you got into product, and what you're doing today.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Patrick Ndjientcheu, and currently I'm the Chief Product and Technology Officer at Irembo. So I'm leading the product management, product design, technology, data, and security teams. We brought all of those functions together to ensure that you can have a cohesive approach to delivering products that are delightful, secured, but also reliable. So that's the whole point of it. So I started my career in product through startups. So because I'm a software engineer by training, but something that I noticed was that I quickly realized that the value was not always in delivering technical functionalities, but actually delivering something that matters. So when I started to understand, okay, how do we define what matters? How do we get close to what matters? That's when I started to get in touch with the product. I think my first interaction with the product management was through the book Inspired from Matic again. So that's the very first book that I read. And once I read that book, I said, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. So that's how I fell in love with product management. And then I started to do it in some startups. And then from there, I kept doing it. Yeah. So you're never done with product because we always have interesting business problems to solve through technology. Yeah. So that's a bit like about me.
So you were properly inspired by the book Inspired then.
Yes, exactly.
And I always think it's really great to do a lot of your learning in startups because there's kind of nowhere to hide. I mean, maybe there's nowhere to hide in big organizations as well. But I feel like in startups, you have to like really be part of the team, get stuck in, and you have that opportunity to branch out of the role that you're given. So if you're a software engineer, you can get like a lot more involved in design and user interviews and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, was that your experience too, where you were kind of taking on a slightly broader role than software engineer in the startups?
Okay, yeah, so that's my experience. So I was a software engineer at a big company, actually at the telecom operator Orange. But then I started to start up with some friends, and then as you said, you were owning everything. So the ownership aspect was very clear, and then the focus on delivering value, achieving goals is also very clear. So now, what I was trying to understand is what is the framework that I can use to get to deliver value. What is the framework that I can use to make sure that what I'm building is really valuable? Because I was playing two roles. I was playing the role of the software engineer, but also a bit of the designer, but also of the product manager. So it was a very interesting experience where I was able now to go through the intersection of both the technology in terms of the feasibility, the user experience to make sure that it's easy to use, but at the end of the day, also the value to ensure that what value are you actually delivering? Why will people choose to use your product day in, day out to achieve what they are planning to achieve in their own life? Yeah. So that was a bit my experience.
Nice. People often ask me, like, how do you break into product? Because so many people want to get into product management, and they're kind of just waiting for an opportunity to land. And I'm like, why don't you just go and start your own like startup, and then even if it doesn't go anywhere and you're just doing it on the side, you have to go through all of that product thinking, don't you? So it is such a great way to learn and to practice product without actually having it as a job title.
Yes, exactly. Because the other thing with startups, especially if you want to start something yourself, is that you have to face, we say, first principles thinking. You might read everything online, framework, best practices, but at the end of the day, you are facing a problem. And you need to find out what is the right way to solve this problem that will work, that will actually work for on the long term, while delivering also value. So when I said I was very inspired by the book Inspired, is because when I was reading it, I was able to map it with the situation that I was facing to say, okay, these objectives that I set in this book, in this methodology, I really feel like if I'm able to apply it, be a bit consistent with it, I can actually deliver the value that I'm looking for to deliver. And the framework is also a great framework to work with. So
nice. So, and tell us a bit about Irembo. So, one of the things that you've done there is move from a single product to multiple products. But give us a bit of background on what Irembo do and what the business is.
Yes, thank you. So Irembo started as a technology company that digitized government services. So the very first contract of Irembo was with the government. And the mission was very clear. The government wanted to be online, to offer the service online. So that was the very first product that Irembo has to build. I will say that it started a bit as a project, because that's always how the government sees things. It's a project that you have to implement. But as we're building this, as we deliver on this project, something interesting happened is that we built an organization. We built a technology organization. I think that the CEO at the time had that intuition that to deliver on this, we should not only work on delivering the project, but we should build a technology organization that will now sustain that effort. So I think that's how it all started. So once we build that initial platform, that was is a marketplace for government that is called Irembo Gov, where we bring today more than 240 services from different government institutions to citizens and also to businesses. We started to realize that we have many components that were part of it. So the very first one was the payments. So because when you build this, you have to accept payments. And when we're looking around, we realized that there was no strong payment platform in the market. There was already a payment module in the product that was integrated with a module from a bank. Then we realized that, okay, maybe if you go ahead and build a full featured payment product, especially as the one provided by the bank was not delivering on all our expectations, then we did a benchmark, realized that in the market, there was no good solution. So we just said, okay, let's build this ourselves. We have enough market with the government product to consume that payment platform. Basically, all the government payments are going to channel through that platform. So it's already a big market, a good justification to go ahead and invest in building that. So that's what we did. We built a payment. But as we were building it, we started to develop an intuition around this can also serve other businesses. So we designed a way that the government product will now be a client of the payment product. So we moved from a place where the payment was a part of the government platform to a place where one feature of the payment platform was serving the government. Basically, a part of the payment platform was now serving the government product. And then that's how we started to work on the payment platform until we extended to other government institutions that were not on our government platform. And then today, private businesses are also using our payment platform. Recently, we did a full rebrand so that people realize that this payment platform is an individual product. Yeah, that's a bit the journey that we went through to get from that initial product to the first payment platform that's also a different product here.
And you mentioned at the beginning of this journey as well, the work that you did for the government was kind of considered more of a project rather than a product. At what point did it turn into a product, or was there a moment where that happened, or was it just a gradual sort of process?
I would say it was a gradual process, but also a realization of how do we sustain this? Because when you deliver a project, the project is done. Yeah. But then you realize that for what we had, the government keeps having new demands. citizens keep having new demands. So the first thing that we did was to develop principles, kind of product principles, to say this is our principles to keep evolving the product. And then at one point we also realized that there was a need for the product to have an identity.
Mhm.
And that's when you start to say, okay, this is not a project. If you want to give it an identity, if you need to have a framework to keep improving this, and if you also need to have a framework to define what is the strategy, what are you going to do next? What is that you are saying no to? How do you go about solving the different problems that the product can address? You need to have some form of thing that is a structure, right? And that structure is actually a product. So that's basically what happened. At the beginning, we were just serving governments. It was very much request-based. They want something, we can do it, we go do it. No, they want another thing, we can do it, we go do it. But at one point, you realize that it's not scalable. Yes. And if it's not scalable, it means also it's not sustainable. Yeah. So.
And because it's quite a different way of working and potentially a different set of skills when you have a fixed kind of scope, like you say, you know, they're requesting something, you maybe have to like scope it out and understand what it is that they're requesting, and then it's kind of scoping and delivery and managing delivery. But then you kind of said you moved more into like that sort of product way of thinking of like understanding the customer need, understanding what to say no to. So in that change, did you need to change the team at all? Or like you mentioned you introduced principles and like a product strategy, but were there any other changes that you needed to make in order to make that a successful transition into a product team?
Okay.
Or if you didn't change the team, how did you support the team in understanding like how to function as a product team as opposed to a project team?
Exactly. So we had to basically not change the team, but restructure the team. So what we did first was to ensure that was to define what is that we are building. Right? What is the product about? Which family of product are we building? And then through that thinking, we realized that what we are doing is a service management platform, because at the end of the day, government services are services. And then they want a form where people can apply, they want a workflow, they want payment capabilities and those kind of things. So we first have to say, okay, what we are building is actually a service management platform. It just happened that we are serving only government today, right? So once we had that realization, we formalized what is the product all about, service management platform. Now we had a team that was now focused on, we built a team that was now focused on, okay, this service management platform had to have capabilities. Which capabilities should we build? Which capabilities do you have today? Recognizing already that capability, naming them, because we even have to say, okay, this feature is not just a feature. We need to give it a name so that we elevate it a bit. So once we recognize all those capabilities, we now say, okay, these are the capabilities. What is the strategy that we can put in place to make sure that we have a consistent way to keep adding capabilities without destroying the nature of the product? So, and then we had a team that was now focused on that, on the platform. And we had another team that keeps working on projects, which was what the role was to do implementation. So you have the platform, but you need to onboard services on the platform. That team continued to work with a project approach, but they were building on top of a platform for which we had a dedicated product team that was supposed that is working to improve the capabilities of the platform. Yeah.
And did you go, sorry, I know this is about moving from one product to multiple products, but I'm really interested in how you move from project to product as well, because I think that is something that a lot of businesses, especially in the early days when you're starting up, you know, you're delivering things as projects, and then you kind of at that point, like you say, you realize actually this could work for other businesses too, and then and I think it's a great strategy as well for a startup. But so with that change as well, did that come like from you? Did you have any pushback? Did you need to win people over in order to convince them that this other way of working was going to be beneficial to the business? And if you needed to do that, like how did you do that?
Okay, I think for us it was not that difficult because the CEO at the time had a very product and technology background.
Oh, nice.
So yes, so it was an easy go. Yes,
Yeah.
it was an easy battle, I will say. Yes. So I think the challenge was mainly on our client side, the government, because when we introduced that, we introduced some form of slowness in the process, because to build the platform, it means that you have to refocus, and also
Yeah.
means that you have to standardize. So and when you start to standardize, it means that you now have a framework to say, oh, this kind of things we are not doing, this kind of things we do, or this is how things work on the platform. So, and sometimes clients will have specific requests. I mean, they will give you solutions for to their problems. Before, with the previous approach, we will have done what they ask us. Oh, you want this solution? Okay, we are going to do it. Now we say, you want this solution, but what is the problem that you're trying to solve? Okay, there's another capability on the platform that can solve that problem. Not exactly the way you wanted to, but we are still solve that problem. So that work also came in, but internally it was mainly with our sales team as well, because our sales team was also used to, we come with things that the clients wants, you do it. But now there was a bit of pushback. You come with it, you say, this is a solution. Can we go figure out what is the problem? And then you come back. So you also have to adapt our working collaboration with the sales team so that they get used to it, and also have better conversation with the clients as well. Yeah.
Did that process go smoothly as well, or are there any sort of lessons learned from that part of the change that you had to make with your customers?
Okay, I think the biggest lesson learned is that something that we didn't do, I think that we should have done, was to bring customers along the journey of, okay, we are going through this transition. This is how it's going to benefit you maybe over the next 6 to 12 months. And this is what you should expect going forward from this platform. So the benefit, for example, of that standardization was that the features were not available to all customers. Before, we were building on demand. So a customer wants this, they want a specific dashboard. We go build their dashboard. They want a specific report, we go build it. They want a specific feature, we go build it. But with the platform approach, all features are available to all customers. So it's just now a matter of them to consume it, right? And without any further development. Yes. So, but that one didn't happen. So it means that even when we moved to the platform, not all the customers started to benefit from the new features, because they were not even aware that, there are these new features that are available for me to consume. Yes. And then the value that they are getting from the platform was not, I would say, increased that much. So that's something that we could have done to ease the adoption process, and then to bring customers along, because what they were realizing only was that their solution, there was more work required when they were asking us to build things, because we need to go sit with them, talk to them, try to understand the problem. And they say, no, me, I want this. We say, okay, a second. What do you want to solve with that thing? So those conversations were a bit much more painful than before. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I think we could have done better. The other thing that I was also thinking about was to early on to map what are those new features, because even internally there was that misalignment on this is what every customer should not expect from this platform in terms of benefits. Right? So it means that even when we were building things, they were not activated, if I could put it that way, for customers. And even the sales team was not aware that, given this new approach of work, this is a set of features that can now sell to customer, or that can now go to meet existing customer to push them to use it to increase their retention, their satisfaction, and those kind of things. Yeah. So, and sometimes we get a request that will come after, and then we say, but this request is already available. Why? We don't need the request. There's this feature that can solve that. Right? But because that awareness was not there, it was a challenge. So I will also put that under the sales enablement that we usually talk about in B2B context. Even that realization that, now our product is becoming a platform for B2B, and it means that the relationship between product and sales has to be, I would say, reinvented, right?
Yeah.
So product is no longer there to implement requests. They are also there to enable or to empower the sales team with the features of the platform. So that one also, we didn't do that the right way at the beginning. So, but we managed to catch up after. But I think that if we would have done that a bit earlier, it will ease the process as well for the sales team, and then even for the product. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what about pricing through this as well? Like, how did it affect your pricing strategy?
Okay, that's another interesting topic.
Could be a
Because for the
whole
pricing, we are using a model of revenue share. So basically, uh, the citizen will use the platform, and then the government will pay for every transactions. We will take a share basically. So
Yeah.
now on the pricing, we decided not to impact the pricing because for us, we're like, okay, now we have enough arguments to justify our price, because we are also having feedback that our pricing is too high and things like that. So we were saying that, okay, now maybe we can now better map the price to the value. And that's also something that we missed when we didn't empower properly the sales team with all the features, because we're not able also to have those kind of conversations with the client to say, look, the price that you are charging, this is the whole value that we are offering to you. Right? So it was not there. We were only limited on, your services are digitized, your services are on the platform. That's it. But once we move to this new product, this new platform approach, there are other features that are, platforms that are available to all of them. Yeah. So that's a bit the situation that we had.
Yeah. Pricing is always tricky, isn't it?
Yes.
But it sounds like it was actually fairly simple in your case, with if it's mainly revenue share. But and then you talked about you introduced, or you converted one of your features of the platform, the payment gateway, into a product, and also I believe the identity solution, the kind of KYC, know your customer solution, into a product as well. So what was that like, moving from, that single platform product to then having multiple products to manage? And how did you evolve the teams so that they were managing those multiple products? Did you have one product manager managing everything until that grew, or how did you scale it as those products became their own thing?
Okay. I think we start with the payment. For the payment, very early on, we decided to have a dedicated product manager, because it was clear that this is completely different from what we had on the government. And then the product manager that were working on the government platform, they have so much bias with the government platform that they were not able to really put themselves in the shoes of, okay, this is a payment platform. And what we really wanted to do was to say, you know what, the Gov platform has to adapt to the payment platform, because the payment platform should be able to serve many clients. And then if needed, then the Gov platform will adapt. But what we realized is that the product manager working on the Gov were not able, because of the bias, to drive that kind of change, right? So we said, okay, look, we are going to have a different product manager for the payment platform. And then we made it very clear to the product manager that the Gov client is not driving you. You are the one driving them. So you need to look at what are the standards, what is the standard APIs that we need to have, should we make it very easy to use, how do we make it so that it can work for other scenarios, and then you are going to ask the Gov team to adapt to it. Yes, so that's one of the things that we did. So we built a completely different team, and then we also try to put in place clear separation, to be like, okay, you're on the payment platform. You don't care about what's happening on the Gov platform. Treat them as a client, like maybe as a P1, priority one client, but at the end of the day, they are a client, right? So, and you need to think from a platform perspective. You don't want to build a product that is too much customized for a client. Otherwise, you cannot scale it. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a bit what we did. It was not easy, the transition, because even when the team came, at that time, the government platform was generating, I would say, 99% of the revenue. So the whole company is talking about the government platform. So you're a product manager on the payment platform, but the whole company is talking about the government platform. So you might feel like, my job is to serve these people, right? My only job is to serve these people. So I will do everything I can to serve them. So, but it took a bit of time, but I think they managed to understand that, okay, it's a completely different products, especially when we started to have the first client. Something that we also did was they are the team that started the weekly customer interviews. So we told them that, okay, look, every week you need to go talk to customers. And for me, it was very critical, because it was important for them to get a perspective from external customers about what the product should do, what the product should serve, that they are not too much influenced by the needs from the government platform teams. Yeah. So that's a bit how we went about it. And in terms of the teams, so we had to divide the team from the product management, product design, even the software engineers. And we even went up to the DevOps team, the security team to need to allocate resources only working on the payment platform so that we can grow it, because we're seeing clear potential around that product. So yeah, it was important to allocate the right resources from the get-go at that point.
This episode is brought to you by Airtable Product Central. Quick question. Right now, can you see which product teams are working on which strategic priorities and how they're making progress? If you're juggling scattered decks, spreadsheets, and tools, probably not.
Product Central changes that. AI monitors and aligns your entire portfolio to your top priorities, from strategy to execution to outcomes. Exec-ready status updates are sent automatically, teams get flagged when strategy drifts, and everything can be queried conversationally. Questions like, which initiatives are at risk, get instant data-backed answers that link directly to relevant documentation.
And here's the real impact. Fortune 100 companies have created a single unified roadmap across business units. They've automated executive reporting and transformed annual planning down from months to weeks.
See what's possible at airtable.com/product central. That's airtable.com/product central.
And you mentioned earlier that you did a kind of rebrand of the payment product as well, and that really helped people have that differentiation between, it's just a feature of the platform versus it being its own product. So how did you go about branding it?
Okay, so the branding, it was the first element of the brand was the colors. So the standard color of Irembo are blue. And when we launched the Irembo Pay product, the Irembo Pay was also blue. So I think when we discussed with the comms and marketing team, it was clear that we need to adopt a new color, because internally, even externally, if you want to really create a difference, the difference has to be visual in the first place.
Yeah.
So for Irembo Pay, we moved to the green. They did some stages, and then they came up with, okay, the green is the right one. We said, okay, no problems. So we had to go with the green, but at least it was different from the Irembo Gov. And then there were certain events that we attended, the company attended, but it was only Irembo Pay that was at the event. So we attended some fintech forums where when we went there, we were only talking about Irembo Pay. Even most of the people know us with the government platform, but when we went there, we're only talking about the payment platform. So those also helped the team to set their own ground and their own area where they can have much more influence on the direction of the product. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I think it's amazing, the power of branding, for internal reasons as well as for external as well.
Yeah.
So you mentioned as well about the third product that was introduced. So how did the transition into the third product go? Was it a smoother journey because you'd already done it for the payment product, so you kind of knew what you were doing that third time round?
Yeah, so it was smooth, but the product's a bit more complex. So the third product was a identity verification, or digital ID, kind of digital ID product. But it's not truly a digital ID because it's using a digital ID to offer authentication and a single sign-on solution. So it's like a bit like a Google account. So what we did was on Irembo Gov, when you want to use the platform, you have an account. And then as we're also extending the Irembo Gov to the private sector, so we had to build Irembo Plus, which is also a marketplace for commercial services. The question was now, how do I log in on Irembo Plus? And we say, okay, you're going to reuse your Irembo Gov account. Okay. But if you reuse your Irembo Gov account, how come you use Irembo Gov to log in on Irembo Plus? Is it possible that you only have Irembo account? And then we extract it as a separate product, the Irembo account. And now instead of the account being in Irembo Gov itself will use the Irembo account, which is completely independent. And then the Irembo Plus platform will also use the Irembo account, which is also like independent. So that's how we came up with it. But explaining it was not very easy. But hopefully in the company, we use Google Workspace And then people we connect on the different platforms, Slack, Notion, with Google Workspace. So it was also easy to use that as an illustration to tell everyone that, okay, look, the same way that you use your Google account to connect on all these platforms, that is the same that now we are going to do with the Irembo account. And now that's what we did. Now the challenge was, what is the brand? What is that brand? What are the colors, right? So because the Irembo account is going to be used everywhere. So you don't want it to have a very strong branding so that it could influence the others. So we went with the black and the white. Yes, that's what we did. So it's a bit neutral, yeah. So it's not blue, it's not green, but it's black and white. So that's it. So yeah, so that's what we did. And then we built the different experiences, and then I also had to assemble a team to say, okay, team, look, what you are doing is identity management. So that's what you are doing, your product. So go first, do benchmark. I send them to do some benchmark to say, go look at all the identity management platform and come and tell us what you are missing from this platform. Because there was also everyone that was working on the Irembo account already had some experience with Irembo Golf. So there was a risk that they would be very much biased to do things that were working for Irembo Golf. So I brought in a designer who are not working on the Irembo Golf yet. I said, okay, you please design the whole thing as if you don't even know that, as if it's not for Irembo Golf that you are building this. So she designed all the screens. She got also inspiration with how Google account is doing it, how the other identity platform are doing it. And we said, okay, this is the new experience. And then we went back to the Irembo Golf team. We said, okay, Irembo Golf, you are going to change your signing process. You are going to change your sign-up process because now you need to use the Irembo account. And this is how you are going to integrate with it. And this is it. And then we got the Irembo Golf team to work on that integration. Yes. So yes, that's a bit the mechanism that we had to do as well to drive that transition. Yeah.
It's interesting as well hearing you talk about how people end up with bias towards like the biggest revenue product that or the oldest product that you have in the business. And I guess people kind of fall in love with it, or they think that it's the most important one, but actually, innovating and bringing those new products in is always like just as important.
Yes.
How do the product teams feel now about the various different products? Do you find that people still have a bias towards like the platform is the most important one, or is there a much more balanced view across the 3 different products that you have?
I think there's much more balance because we also managed to separate the teams and to get every team to understand what the other team is doing. So with time, as they see it in action, because I think that part, the visual part is also very important. That's also why, from my experience, when I now start these new initiatives, I first start with a designer, not necessarily a product manager. I say, designer, can you visualize this thing that you are trying to do? Even if it's not perfect, we give you context, we give you rough ideas. Can you visualize it? Because when people see, they understand better. Yes. So, but now most people, when they go, even when they are when they are doing their test, for example, the Irembo Golf team, when they are doing their test, they go on the test environment, they go, I need an Irembo account. They go talk to the Irembo account team, please, can you give us some test accounts so we can log in on this thing? And then they get test account, and they see the experience themselves, and they say, okay, it's cool. And then they understand. Yeah. So that is a bit easier. Same with the Irembo Go and Irembo Pay. They can see how easy it is when they want to integrate other payment channels, or when they want to integrate the new government clients, and they understand the process. They also see the value, especially when the other product is growing, delivering more value to the main product before them having to do anything. So that's also why they appreciate it. They say, if I take the payment platform, on the payment platform, you keep adding new payment channel. And then they automatically benefit from it, the Irembo Golf team, because if they have more payment channels, if Irembo Pay adds more payment channels, it means that Irembo Golf users will have more payment channels. But then the good thing is that as an Irembo Golf product manager, I did nothing. I got the feature for free, something like that. Yes. So they are also able to better appreciate the value of separating those two products and having a team that is working to keep improving so that they can benefit from the value that is created.
Yeah. And it sounds like with Irembo and the products that you introduced, you almost had qualified the product market fit, before you even decided to spin it out as its own product. But are there any other products that you're like investigating in terms of like, the next steps for Irembo, the expanding the product portfolio even further? And are they of the same type of product where it's like a feature from within the platform that you're spinning out, or is it something completely new, or what does that look like at the moment?
Okay, so right now we have another product, which is the mobile app. So the mobile app is very interesting because initially it started as the mobile app of Irembo Gov. So Irembo Gov is available on the web. We made it available also on the what we call USSD, where you have to dial a code for people who don't have smartphones. And then there was an intuition that, okay, we need to bring it on the mobile app. People are getting more on their mobile. Everything is being done on the mobile. Mobile is much more convenient. But there was always this point about, but government services, people don't apply for government services all the time. So if you put it on the mobile, why would I download an app just to get my birth certificates and then I will use it again in, 6 months, 3 months? What would be the incentive for me to download that app? And if I have an app, what elements do we have to drive the engagement or retention on the app? So we always had those questions. So initially, when we were trying to think about it, we wanted to do the mobile app of Irembo Gov. There was a clear understanding also that on the brand aspect, we also elevate our brand, because having an app, puts you in a position where you are driving much more convenience for users. So, and you're also adapting yourself to consumer preferences. Okay, but the question was how to go about it. So we kept thinking about it. At one point, we came with the idea that, okay, what if the app is not the mobile app of Irembo Gov, but it's just a super app, for which it just happened that the very first service of the super app are government services, but more will come. And then we give it a completely different identity to say it's not the app of Irembo Gov, it's a super app that we are building internally. And then we have just the benefits that we can easily bring the government service as the first use cases, or even the payment as well, given that you have a payment gateway as the first service on the app. And then that's what we did. We say, okay, let's build a team. And again, what I did, I took people who have not worked on the Irembo Gov, to not be biased. The designer, I said, okay, please sit. Let's assume that you are doing a super app. Let's assume that the way we put it for them to work was to say, let's assume that you are competing with the Irembo Gov web team. You want to get more traffic on your super app. One of the use cases of the super app is government services. You are going to have more use cases, but your first very use cases are the government services, and you need to differentiate with the experience. Your experience on the mobile app need to be very much different, very much more convenient than on the web. So, and the way we are going to measure your success is, for a specific service, can you get more traffic on the mobile app than on the web? That's the ultimate success metric, meaning that people are able to choose now the mobile app to do their government transaction versus going to the traditional web. So then the team worked. I think we gave them 1 month to build and to launch a prototype. That's what they achieved that. And it was very interesting also to see how they were able to build that. But you still have that conversation about how to make sure that it's separate, because the patterns of the government services kept coming, right? So at one point you had to challenge the assumptions to say, no, they're on the Gov web, they have that assumption since, 5 years. For you, you can challenge that assumption. For them, maybe they are so into it that they are no longer challenging it. But you, building from scratch, please challenge it. If it doesn't make sense, remove it. So things like that. Yeah. So and they were able now to build a mobile app that was much more different from the Gov web. And then when we launched it, the market reception was really amazing from people who downloaded, who experimented the app. Yeah.
So is that the direction that product is going in then? Do you think it will completely, I mean, I'm guessing both will be needed, but do you think the predominant use will be on the mobile side rather than the website?
Yes, that's what we believe. In the, let's say, 3 to 5 years, not immediately, but in the 3 to 5 years, I strongly believe that the mobile app will dominate the usage, because if we really manage to position it as a super app, meaning that we make it more useful for citizens by
Yeah.
bringing additional use cases, they will download it not for the government services, but because it's the convenient place to to do almost everything in their life. And then it's the convenient place. Now, when they always have it in their phone, when they want to apply for government services, they will not have the thinking to say, okay, let me go through the web. Let me open Google Chrome or Safari. They will just do it straight from the app. Yes. But I think the first goal now is to drive the adoption of the app, and then to bring use cases that are the most relevant for people, so we can progressively grow the number of users.
And do you think if you are obviously hypothesizing, because it sounds like it's all going in the right direction, but had you not had the positive reception towards the mobile app that you had, do you think you would have pivoted, or do you think you would have just dropped that route as a potential product?
You mean in case the hypotheses are not confirmed?
Yeah, just thinking about, like, if you have a kind of strong belief in a product and market, but you're not seeing the data, how far theoretically would you push the investment before you decide, actually, no, that's not something that customers want?
Okay. Yes, that's a very good question. I think that what we are doing right now, we are really looking at data. Yes, so we had those assumptions, but now we want to validate it with the data. And then if the data are not validating for a very long period of time, we just stop working on that product and find a way, if it is possible, to remove it from the market. But for now, it's still based on the usage that we see, the retention, the engagement, it seems like it was the right thing to do, but we are still observing. Something that we are also trying to pivot on is the audience that we are serving. So we started with this very specific audience, and then we focus on that first audience, which is like a niche market. Yeah, we start with a niche market. We say, can we drive adoption in this specific niche market? And then that's what we are going to try to do, from niche market to niche market, until we reach the typing point. Yeah.
Which is quite interesting, because presumably the government services are required by quite a broad market. So how do you decide which niche market to go after?
Okay, so what we did was to understand which service can be used as a probability, which audience has a probability to use services more than, let's say, at least once every month, right? So, and then we realized that, oh, these are car owners because of traffic fines, right? So, so that's the main thing. And then we then said, okay, our initial audience would be car owners. So they can get their birth certificate, they can get their marriage certificate, but we know that those services are going to be used once. The audience that they can use most of the time will be around fines, either to check their fines or to pay their fines. And the data are confirming that, because today we have around a 70% retention, 30-day retention when we look at the car owners. And something that they keep doing when they come on the app is to check their fines. And when we interviewed a few of them to understand, okay, we see that you keep coming on the app, what is bringing you on the app? They say, okay, now, because they have the app, every time they pass through a camera, a police camera, even if they were not speeding, just by reflex, they say, I never know. Maybe something happened. I need to go check. And also because it's very easy. You just open the app, you click, and then it's there. Oh, no fines. Okay, you are reassured. So, and now what you are doing now is now to extend to say, when we say the car owners as a persona, they have other things. And then the sales are not just about the car. We are now adding insurance, to pay for your insurance, to get your car insurance. But you're also saying, oh, if you're a car owner, probably you have a TV subscription. If you're a car owner, there's a chance that you have an internet subscription. And those ones, you also pay them on a monthly basis. Oh, and then you're now working to add those services internet subscription, and then TV subscription on the mobile app. Also, parking fees as well. That's also something that you are also exploring. But you are moving us. We are trying to move more around. It's not just about your cars, but as a person who has a car, what are the other features you can guess that you also have, and that we can also serve you around. So that's a bit how. Yes, I agree. It was not easy to find that persona because government services are not used every day. So yeah.
We have like gone way over time, but I guess what would be really great is just thinking about your experience of moving from project to product to multiple products. Like, what are the sort of like main pieces of advice, or like the main piece of advice that you would give to someone going through a similar transition?
Okay, so I think I will start maybe from project to product. You need to, at one point, once we start to realize that demands keep coming, because if you don't have demand for either features or changes from clients on the same piece of software, probably it's a project. You deliver it, someone took it, and then that's it. They did what they were supposed to do with it, and then they are done. But once you keep having demand, it means that, they are interested in it. It's probably delivering value. And now you want to understand, what is that I built? Maybe I built this software based on very, very kind of detailed specification that was given to me. But can I have an abstraction of what is that I built? I think for us, that's how we discovered that, what we built was actually a sales management platform. It's not just a platform for people to digitize government services, but it's actually a sales management platform. And I now go to say, okay, what are the other products that sales management doing? Or you cannot borrow from them in terms of strategy, in terms of features, and how can I better understand the space that I'm operating to? So that's basically the first step. Yes. Now, from one product to many products, I think it's not always easy to realize that you have a new product at hand, because it's a feature, it's so embedded into the main thing, then it's not always easy. So maybe you can try to, from time to time, to have an external eye looking at your products and to tell you, okay, what do you think about this? What else can we do to serve our customers? Because when you are working on a product, on a customer, you might be focused too much on a specific need, and extracting that other feature that could become a full feature product might not be something. A bit of reflection might also help to understand what really matters and what can be extracted. Now, in terms of lessons learned on that path, I would say that engaging the company, the whole company, the company functions is very important. It's not just the product, the engine we are building it. Once you build it, you need the marketing and comms to communicate about it, to design the right brand, to understand it so that you can talk about it. You need the operations team to support it, right, to operate it in production. You need the finance team to build some models around it, and then to be able to understand why is that you are allocating company resources on this new thing. So you need a lot of other functions to come on board and contribute. And it's very important to spend time to explain the why, to keep repeating yourself, because people are focused on the main thing, and you're coming with something that is not the main thing. So it's obvious that you not get everyone attention from day one, but you need to insist on that and then also use visuals to show people so that they can see. Because for us, product managers or engineers, things are in head, they are very clear, the vision is very clear, but until you materialize it for other people, they will not realize what you're talking about. And then the last thing is also about realizing that product at different stages need different goals and resource allocations. So you might have a product that is at a maturity stage or a growth stage where it's very clear that, yes, here you are trying to maximize the revenue. But for certain products, you need to be able to tell yourself that, maybe it's just my intuition, or it's just some hypothesis that we have, and maybe we still need to establish problem-solution fit. And I need to demonstrate that it's actually problem-solution fit here. So that's what I'm trying to do. And then I'm not trying to grow it. I'm not trying to increase revenue. I'm just trying to establish problem-solution fit. And that will be my goal for the next 3 to 6 months. And based on that, you now allocate resources for that initiative. Yeah. So I think those are those are some of the lessons that I will share about that experience. Yeah.
Patrick, thank you so much for joining us on the product experience. It's been really great to hear about Irembo and your experience. I imagine your team are very happy to have you as their boss, because it just feels like you're bringing all of the, all of the product thinking and all of the passion and the love for like doing things properly, which is so nice to hear from a product leader.
Okay, thank you as well. It was a pleasure to join the Product Experience podcast. I'm an avid listener to the podcast, so it's a pleasure to be now part of it.
Thank you again.
Okay, you're welcome.
The Product Experience hosts are me, Lily Smith, host by night and Chief Product Officer by day.
And me, Randy Silver, also host by night. And I spend my days working with product and leadership teams, helping their teams to do amazing work.
Luran Pratt is our producer, and Luke Smith is our editor.
And our theme music is from product community legend Arnie Kittler's band, POW. Thanks to them for letting us use their track.